Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I have a very controversial video for you about flag burning. Should flag burning be illegal? This is going to be coming in two parts. First, we're going to investigate the current legal status of flag burning, and I'll answer for you truly if it's legal to burn flags or not, and then I will talk about my opinion on the matter if I think it should or shouldn't be illegal and exactly why. There's two gameplays, one for each part. The first is akimbo only. I have akimbo M1 irons and then overkill akimbo rapid fire SAC3s. I'm trying to get this strange daily challenge like supply drop where I have to kill somebody with my primary and then swap to my overkill second weapon and get a kill with that. I do play really well despite a rough start. Second game, I'm going to be using the MP11 Deceiver, get off to a great start, slower end, 2.0 KDs and objective play in both. Enough about the gameplay, let's talk about flag burning. It's very controversial. People get very touchy, very worked up, very heated, and the idea came to me from T-Mac. We were having a discussion about this, and he has very strong, we'll say, pro-flag feelings. He's a military serviceman, so he's got a very strong emotional attachment to it, and he's very proud of his country, so of course he's not a big fan of flag burning. As of right now, flag burning is currently 100% legal in the United States. You may not believe this, there's a lot of people that'll say otherwise. There are currently laws on the books against flag desecration, but they've never held up in court. You will not ever be convicted or tried or go to prison for burning a flag. However, most people aren't very happy about it, and you may get penalized misdemeanors or small jail time for starting a fire in a public place, protesting without a permit. What's another good one? It's like disruptive conduct, disturbing the peace. That's another common one. But you can't be arrested or prosecuted for flag burning itself because it's legal. A quick TLDR on American law for those of you watching. Our law is governed by the Constitution. That's the big body that oversees everything, and the Supreme Court decides whether or not something is or is not in line with the Constitution. The very first amendment to our Constitution guarantees free speech. This is nearly unlimited free speech, and it is extremely strong, and we consider this to be the bedrock of our free society. And I want to be clear, this is not freedom from hurtful speech. This is not freedom from being criticized. This is not freedom from being made fun of. This isn't freedom from being cursed and screamed and yelled at and all sorts of hateful things, but this is freedom of speech. It's the complete opposite. You can actually be hurtful, offensive, mean, and sometimes downright seditious or dangerous. There are very few limitations on this, and it is a very strong amendment that is almost always upheld in court because we have a no slippery slope policy when it comes to freedom of speech. We're almost never going to limit that. However, despite this, flag burning was more or less illegal in most jurisdictions as a protest until 1968. However, you were rarely punished for it. It was illegal and some people were punished. In 1968, we passed a federal flag desecration law. This was actually a really strong law, and it had some unusual kind of things with it. You couldn't destroy the flag, burn it, step on it, dampen it. You couldn't say mean things to it. You couldn't be in contempt of the flag, like the flag was a person and you could hurt its feelings. Lots of different things that you could not do to the flag. In 1968, a man named Street, who lived in New York, he was doing a public park protest. He burned the flag, and not 1968, 1969. He was arrested and charged under this crime. It got escalated all the way up through our court system to the Supreme Court, where they declared that burning the flag was freedom of speech, and therefore the law was invalid, or not constitutional. Technically, they said it was symbolic speech, because you don't burn a flag with your mouth unless you're a dragon or something like that, but it's a type of symbolic free speech or free expression that is protected under our constitutional law. This decision by the Supreme Court was held up in a variety of rulings and court cases all over the country. One of the most significant ones was in 1989 in Texas versus Johnson. A man burned a flag, and Texas had a local anti-flag desecration law. It's more or less an anti-flag burning law to kind of curb protest and hippies or whatever, but he was arrested and charged, and the Supreme Court decided that the Texas law, because Texas law is under the national law, was unconstitutional and he couldn't be punished with that. Last little bit of history, in 2005 and 2006, Congress tried to pass some different flag desecration laws to make it illegal to burn the flag, step on it, do, mean things with it, or symbolically destroy U.S. symbols, and it came very, very close to passing. It failed passing by one vote in one case and like a handful of votes in another case. So there's a lot of people that feel very strongly on the opposite on whether or not it should be illegal. That is 100% opinion free. What I just said, that was pure fact. That is the current status of flag burning legality in the United States. Moving forward, we're moving into my opinion about flag burning, so be prepared. It may come as a shock to you, and please don't exit the video as soon as you hear this because I've got a lot more to say, but I am pro flag burning. I support flag burning as a freedom of speech. This does not mean I'm anti-American, I'm anti-patriotic, this doesn't mean I hate troops, this doesn't mean I'm evil, I'm a communist, this doesn't mean I'm any of these negative things that people associate with that. What it means is that I'm 100% pro-free speech. I'm free speech even when the people exercising free speech are being dickheads. I'm free speech even for the Ku Klux Klan, which are people that I don't agree with, but they have the exact same rights and freedoms that I have to express their views however they see fit. I'm as free speech as you can possibly get, and I'm also no slippery slope on my free speech. I don't believe in curbing free speech in any way whatsoever, regardless of the fact if it's offensive or even in some cases harmful. As for the slippery slope thing, let's imagine in a world somewhere, perhaps our own, the law is passed and flag burning and desecration becomes illegal. That is an encroachment on symbolic free speech, which will move into art and expression and a lot of other sort of things. And you kind of sort of precedent that this is okay. If you're curbing free speech for the greater good, that this is okay. And maybe some time passes and we pass a couple more minor anti-government laws. Maybe we can't criticize this. Maybe this information has to wait. Time passes, we pass a few more laws, and slowly but surely free speech begins to erode until we don't have it anymore. And this sounds like a conspiracy thing. It sounds like a paranoid thing, but just look at privacy post 9/11. Once 9/11 happened, we passed a whole boatload of security laws that eroded our right to privacy. We have maybe like half to a quarter the level of privacy that we had before, and the same thing will happen to free speech or anything that people view as threatening. I do kind of do the tinfoil hat, big governments be evil kind of thing. Anything you give to the government, the bigger, greater thing that we call the government, it will eventually take more and more of. And I also believe, as crazy as this is, that allowing the freedom to criticize freedom is the ultimate freedom. So take a step back and think about that. We have the freedom to go out and say that freedom sucks and I prefer slavery. Freedom sucks, I would rather live in North Korea, and I am free to say that. And that's like the ultimate freedom. I can do that. That's as free as you can possibly be. You can't get any more free than that. And I believe that free ideas and expression and critical thought is the foundation of any free society. And even though sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's violent, it's offensive, it pisses people off, some people are dumb, and sometimes they are dead wrong, that's how a free society works, and we have to work together to move through these things instead of just saying this is bad, that's bad, you can't say this, and we can't say that. We can't simply label some ideas or expressions as good or bad and harmful and not. And there's reasons for that. Number one is that perspectives change over time. As the saying goes, if you want to move from liberal to conservative, all you have to do is wait 20 years and not change your mind once. Ideas change over time, perspectives change and shift, and ideas that we thought were terrible 15 or 20 years ago actually look like really good ideas today. But if it were illegal to talk about those ideas, they might have kind of died off and not existed today, and we wouldn't be able to use them. The other idea is that governments or any sort of authority or greater power can be corrupt. Surely you believe, regardless of your political leanings, that our government can be corrupt and is occasionally corrupt. Allowing people that are corrupt or any form of corruption to control literally what you speak and therefore what you think is an extremely dangerous thing. And in order to protect that, we have to protect the stupid things like flag burning and racist and anti-religious hate and that sort of stuff too. And I'll just give you two random extreme examples. So for whatever side of the United States aisle you're on, for the more conservative Republican fear, imagine like the Democratic Party comes into control, like 100% majority, they own everything, and they just decide to do 100% wealth redistribution, which is like as Marxist and communist and stereotypical as we can possibly get. If the laws were passed such that you could not criticize that would be very bad or dangerous, and I'm sure it would piss a lot of you off enough to the point where you would want to burn a flag. Same kind of thing if you're on the more Democratic part of the aisle. Let's say that, maybe not even Republicans, let's go the religious right. Let's say like the Catholic Church somehow just explodes and we have a 100% Catholic majority government and they start going back to a theocracy, and you are no longer allowed to criticize religion and you have a 100% church attendance, but you wouldn't have the freedom to criticize these things. Even though that's not a likely change, it's one that could happen, and then you couldn't criticize it, and it would piss you off enough to burn a flag in protest. In saying all of this, I'm not the kind of guy that burns flags. You will never see me burning a flag. You probably won't see me at an Occupy rally sitting there smoking a blunt and burning a flag, down with the man, that kind of thing. I'm not the kind of guy that hates on troops or hates my country. Quite the opposite. I actually consider myself a patriot, and I love where I live, and I'm proud that I'm here. And I'm so proud that I defend our freedoms even when they're unpopular. Even when it seems crazy or illogical, I choose to exercise my freedom to protect my country the best that I see fit, and that's why I support flag burning. We have to support support the crazy and stupid ideas so that the good ideas can flourish, because if we start banning ideas, some evil or corrupt or lazy people will ban the good ideas too, and we can't have that. Again, flag burning is tacky, juvenile, and often pointless. I won't be doing it, but it is something that we do need to keep legal. Guys, that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out. I'm gonna add a little bonus at the end because there was something that I almost forgot about our freedom of speech. One little loophole that I thought we should all be very clear about, and that's that our freedom of speech and everything in this video that I talked about only protects an individual against government retaliation. If you choose to engage in a behavior kind of like flag burning, you should be very prepared against retaliation from your fellow citizens, and you should also understand that whatever they do is not going to be illegal. Of course, beating, stabbing, shooting, all that sort of stuff is going to be illegal, but it's not constitutionally. It's more like a federal, like a crime, like a much lower level sort of thing. If you're on TV and you're burning a flag and you get fired for it, depending on the state, laws are a little different, that's actually illegal. There might not be a civil suit for you, especially at an at-will employment place. Oftentimes people that do offensive protests, that burn effigies, Westboro Baptist Church, they will get beat up, they will get punched, they will get bumped by cars, and police officers and other citizens conveniently didn't know who did it. It just, I don't know, this guy just came out of nowhere and he punched him right in the face and ran off, and the officer's like, man, I didn't get a good look at him. Citizens have a tendency to retaliate against things that they don't like. There will be consequences and blowback on a personal level if you choose to exercise your right of free speech. Every right that you have has some sort of weight, some sort of consequence, some sort of responsibility and work associated with it. So if you choose to do something offensive or crazy or put your word out there kind of like I'm doing right now, because I'm sure I've already pissed a lot of people off, you have to be prepared for your personal consequences, and personal consequences are not constitutionally protected. Now that is all for the video. Drifter out.